A new chapter begins. Sasha and Daisy step into the Corinthos household. In the wake of her daughter's miraculous recovery, Sasha found herself navigating a sea of emotions she had never anticipated. Relief was the most immediate, a deep, soul-shaking relief that Daisy had pulled through her medical ordeal and emerged from the hospital with color in her cheeks and the faint trace of a smile returning to her eyes. But beneath that relief lingered hesitation, uncertainty, and the gnawing question of what came next. When Michael gently suggested that she and Daisy come to stay at his home for a while, she was initially caught off guard. Yet there was a softness to his voice, a sincerity in his eyes, and an overwhelming chorus of support from the Corinthos family that eventually convinced her to say yes. What might have felt like a daunting step into the unknown quickly blossomed into a moment of unexpected belonging. As Sasha walked into Michael's home, Daisy bundled tightly in her arms. She was greeted not with judgment or awkward glances, but with joy. True, uninhibited joy. The kind of joy that wraps itself around you like a warm blanket on a cold day. It was as if Daisy had brought with her a light that spread to every corner of the house. The first to react were Wiley and Amelia. Wide-eyed and exuberant, they bounded toward their new baby sister with giggles and shrieks of excitement. Wiley, ever the protective big brother, took his role seriously from the very start, offering his favorite toy to Daisy without hesitation. Amelia, still mastering the art of walking, toddled her way to the crib, determined to place a flower sticker she had clutched all morning on the side of Daisy's blanket. These simple gestures spoke volumes. In that instant, they were no longer just children in the house. They were siblings, connected not by blood alone but by something deeper, unconditional affection. Michael stood back for a moment, watching it all unfold. It was the kind of moment he had long dreamed of, his children laughing, playing, united under one roof. For a man who had seen the highs and lows of fatherhood, it was a rare moment of peace. His past with Willow had been filled with heartbreak, custody battles, and the crushing weight of guilt. But this new beginning with Sasha and Daisy carried none of that baggage. It was light where there had once been shadows. And Sasha, so often a portrait of strength forced to bear its weight in silence, let herself breathe. For the first time in what felt like years, she allowed herself to be part of something bigger. She wasn't just a mother clinging to her baby in isolation. She was a woman stepping into a family that welcomed her and her child not as guests, but as pieces of a larger whole. Brooklyn brought out a hand-knitted blanket she had made during the hospital nights when everyone was waiting on updates. Olivia insisted on cooking a celebratory meal, channeling her anxious energy into trays of baked ziti and garlic bread. Even Sunny, who had seen too much and trusted too little, offered Sasha a nod that carried more weight than any words. It wasn't a declaration of forgiveness or understanding, it was simply a signal of acceptance. In this house, Sasha and Daisy belonged. But beneath the celebration and laughter, deeper currents stirred. Sasha knew that accepting Michael's offer wasn't just about logistics or comfort. It meant something. It meant stepping back into a world she had tried to leave behind. It meant rekindling ties that had once been frayed by grief, addiction, and betrayal. She couldn't forget the pain of losing Liam, or the way she had once spiraled, shattering under the weight of her loss. And yet, standing here now with Daisy resting safely in her arms and Michael smiling beside her, it was hard to deny the pull of something new. Still, she remained cautious. The lines between gratitude and dependency could blur too easily. And while she appreciated the love surrounding her, she wasn't naive enough to think that every moment would remain this pure. Families, after all, are built on fragile foundations. And the Corinthos family, though tight-knit, had seen their fair share of fractures. Later that night, long after the children had been put to bed, Sasha stood on the balcony outside the guest bedroom. The stars above Port Charles glittered like scattered promises. Michael joined her in silence, not pressing her to speak. When she finally did, her voice was low, thoughtful. She admitted she didn't know what their future held, or whether this arrangement was temporary or the beginning of something bigger. But she also admitted she hadn't felt this hopeful in a very long time. Michael didn't respond with promises or platitudes. Instead, he offered her something far more valuable: patience. He understood that healing didn't happen overnight. That trust wasn't built in a single conversation. And that Sasha, like Daisy, was still recovering. In the days that followed, a rhythm began to form. Breakfasts filled with laughter, afternoons filled with play, evenings marked by bedtime stories and the peaceful breathing of children asleep. Sasha found herself rediscovering joy in small things: Daisy's giggles, Amelia's insistence on brushing her hair, Wiley's questions about what it meant to be a big brother. And through it all, something unexpected happened. The house, once filled with lingering tension and grief, began to transform. Not dramatically, not all at once, but in subtle, meaningful ways. The light that Daisy brought seemed to reach every corner, softening edges that had long been hardened. For Sasha, it was more than a temporary stay. It was a rebirth. Not just of her life as a mother, but of her place in a community she once believed had moved on without her. And while she still carried her past with her, its scars, its sorrows, she also carried something else now: hope. And in the Corinthos home, surrounded by laughter, warmth, and new beginnings, that hope finally had room to grow.